I'm Lene. Welcome to my channel, Fashionably 50-something and Beyond. If you like fashion, fashion hauls, Dollar Tree hauls, DIYs, and cooking, then you've come to the right channel. And if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. What I have for you today is a DIY. We're going to make some flip-flop crafts. And we're going to start with these buckets. And as you can see, they say flowers and garden on them. These are both from a Dollar Tree. And what I wanted to show you was how easy it is to take off the writing with nail polish. So I'm just going to take this off because I want to paint these to match these flip-flops that I have here. So there's one cream bucket. Okay. Now we've got our buckets cleaned, like that. Now what we're going to do is paint them. I'm going to paint one red, I'm going to paint one blue, because I have these flip-flops, red and blue. Okay, now we'll let this one dry. And we'll start with the blue. Okay, now we're done with that one. Now we'll set that aside and let that dry, and we'll add the second coat when that's dry. And work on a bead garland. I want to make a bead garland for my tier tray, and my decor is going to be ice cream and flip-flops, and I want a bead garland to go with that color scheme. So I've chosen 5 colors. I've chosen light yellow, cameo pink, Key West, pumpkin orange, and Bimini blue. Okay, so I have 30 beads that I'm going to paint, and I have 5 colors. So I'm going to put 6 beads on each skewer. I got 5 skewers here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now that we have our beads on our skewers, I'm just going to set them on a plate here. I think I'll use 2 plates. Okay, so we have 5 skewers. Start with orange. Oopsie. And I'm going to use this size paintbrush. This paintbrush is from the Dollar Tree. Just going to dip it in the paint. And then just... The beads kind of rest along the rim of the paper plate, so you can go like this side and then push the bead down that way and do the other side, so that you get right around the whole bead. So I paint towards me and then away from me. And these skewers I got at the Dollar Tree. Okay, now we are finished with our 5 colors. The pink and the blue, and then the orange, yellow, and key lime. And we'll let these dry. Next project is this palette. We're going to paint this palette white. There's our palette. Okay, now it looks like our beads are dry, so we're going to start with our bead garland. So we will take our twine, and this is just twine from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to double it. But what I want to do is see how long I need to make it. Take my twine, and I'm just going to measure about how long each. So I have 5 So the beads are about that long, so I'm taking it and measuring it alongside these beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I want a little bit for the end, and then I want a little bit for the loop. Okay. So what I'm going to do, we can always make it shorter, we can always cut it, but we can't make it longer. So I'm going to take and loop this so I have a little loop there like that. And now I'm going to take and cut my end. Okay. I'm going to cut it because it's a little bit frayed on one end. Okay, now what I'm going to do, got my beads, my twine. I'm going to take some tape, just some regular tape, and tape the two ends of the twine together like that. And now I'm just going to start putting beads on. I have to kind of think of what my color scheme will be here. I think we'll just go with that. Okay, so we're going to start with the orange and go with the yellow, and then the green, and then the pink, and then the blue. Okay. So now we're just going to start putting our beads on our twine in our color scheme. So we have orange, yellow, key lime, pink, and blue. Okay, so there's our color scheme. And I'm just going to keep threading these beads on here. Okay, now we have all of our beads strung onto our bead garland. And now we're going to take, I'm just going to snip that off where that tape was. So I've decided to use this round tag for our bead garland. And all we're going to do is take this string out of here. And we are going to tie it on to the open end of our bead garland. So I'm just going to stick one end through here. Okay, so I made it into a little bow. So now we're just going to snip the ends off. And now what I'm going to do is just glue on a pair of these flip-flops. Okay, and we'll let that dry. So there's our bead garland with our flip-flops on the tassel. Okay, now we're going to move on to our buckets. What I'm going to do is glue these flip-flops onto these buckets. Now I'm just going to glue the second one. Okay, here we have our first bucket. And now we'll glue on the flip-flops to the second. Okay, now we'll let these set. And we're going to move on to our palette. Green, pink, now we'll do blue. We're going in the same color pattern as our bead garland. So blue. And then back to orange. Okay, now we're gonna let that dry a little bit. Now I'm gonna take our palette. Our palette has dried. And I'm gonna take a pair of these orange flip-flops and put it on this palette. Okay, now what we're going to do is take one of these shells from in this bag. I'm just going to glue it up to the top of our palette. We're just going to work on this palette a little bit more. I'm just going to give it a little bit more color. I'm going to paint this bottom orange. Just kind of give it a border. On top. Okay, now we've finished our palette. Okay everyone, so we're done with our crafts. We have made these 2 flip-flop buckets and our bead garland with our matching palette. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's crafting, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Have a wonderful rest of the day and a wonderful summer. Bye.